Today I'm talking about the meaning of life. This is my shortened version for YouTube. Life is that which is within and which is without. It's like a lotus blossom drifting in the stream. The understanding of life is the immersion of oneself into the limitless depths of an awakened life. How can we come to experience life, its true meaning, when we are constantly pursuing all that is temporary? In our modern society today, we have the freedom and, in many cases, the opportunity to pursue and accomplish almost anything. But what is it that we believe to be the most meaningful thing of this life? And at the end of our days, what memories of a life meaningfully lived will give us mindful peace then? The Buddha said, the most meaningful thing that we can do, not only for ourselves, but for all, is to attain enlightenment. And that enlightenment is a mind state. That is a transcendent and permanent state of harmony, contentment, and a profound, irreversible inner peace and calmness. Zen is a practice of life and happiness. In Zen, we do not confuse spirituality with thinking and conditional thought in relation to the concept of God and gods. And we especially don't do that when we are peeling potatoes. Zen spirituality is to just simply peel the potatoes. I've heard this term, the mud mind, used to describe a mind full of negative thoughts and opinions, of attitudes and attachments to the egoic mind of self-righteousness. We look to attain our awareness potential of our mud mind that grows out of the murk and the mire of life, and allow it to become a full lotus in bloom. Om Mani Padme Hum. This is the same in this saying, Om Mani Padme Hum, the lotus coming into full bloom. We have the ability to bring meaning to our lives, if we have a true desire to do so, and if we are prepared to make the effort. This is achieved by transforming our ego and our attitudes. The transformation of the ego and attitudes transforms our mind. A transformed mind transforms our perceptions. And it is this transforming of mind and perceptions that leads us to the attainment of Buddhahood, and then possibly onto enlightenment. So many people today have such rigid beliefs. But rigidity can become a hindrance. A hindrance through the limitation of the mind. And they miss the fact of the real meaning of life. To have a well-lived life. And not one that is constricted by a mind of limitations. Even the concept that life has a meaning comes from our results-orientated society that we live in today. We become so busy trying to attain the result of having a meaning, of our life having a meaning, that we miss the life part. Zen is about the life part. It is life that gives meaning, not meaning that gives life. Life is an ongoing creative process, and we are the scriptwriters of this process. The meaning comes not from life, not the other way around. Meaning comes from life, not the other way around. If we are consumed by seeking the meaning, we will miss the life. And then trying to grasp life's meaning is like trying to grasp the scent of a cherry blossom in Kyoto on a spring morning. Yeah? People often tend to forget that in this life today, it matters what they do. Because what they do, or what they do not realise, is that the fact that they are simply trading a day of their life to do it. The greater the ego becomes, the more difficulties there arise. And it is in this self-centeredness of life the more meaningless life can become. The ego is the hardest thing to outgrow. Yeah? D.T. Suzuki wrote, "Let the intellect alone. Let the intellect alone. It has its usefulness in its proper sphere. But do not interfere with the flow of the life stream. But if you are tempted to look into it, do so while letting it flow." No? The fact of flowing, he said, must under no circumstances be arrested or meddled with. These are great Zen words from a great past master of Zen. So, in Zen, we look to discipline the untamed mind through insight into its true nature. In Zen, we look to Kensho, the initial opening of the mind's eye. So to look into the very reason of existence. Understanding this existence will bring us to the understanding of the meaning of life. Zen is to be life as it is. Zen is to be life as it simply flows, like the lotus in a stream. That is, there is no great expounding. There is nothing mysterious. Zen is simply life, and life is simply Zen. And in that simplicity, we may find meaning. And that meaning may simply be to explore and to cultivate one's own potential. However, the haiku poet Basho wrote, "Sitting quietly doing nothing, spring comes, and the grass grows by itself." Sitting quietly doing nothing refers to the stillness of mind. Spring comes and the grass grows by itself is life uninterrupted by our thoughts. So, life is just as it is. So looking for meaning would simply then be unnecessary. It has been said that some questions need to be answered, and other questions need to be lived. The meaning of life is possibly in those questions that are to be lived. So, when we talk about karma, action and reaction, cause and consequence, and how one moment of life flows into the next, in this flowing of moment to moment, maybe in how we spend these moments, maybe that is where we could find life's meaning. So, in the search for the answers to the questions, what is the meaning of life? We create for ourselves an existential conundrum. It is one that we cannot find a way out of by simply thinking. The way out is by living. But before we become a human doing, we must first become a human being. So, for more than 20 years now, I've heard this question asked of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Holiness, what is the meaning of life? He always turns the question around to what is the purpose of life? And over the years, people have asked me the same question. Fu Xin, what is the meaning of life? I simply tell them that I believe they're asking the wrong person the wrong question. Instead of asking others or myself or others, what is the meaning of life? They should be asking themselves simply, what is it that gives their life meaning? The answers from both of us, Dalai Lama and myself, pretty much come out the same. So, from the northern Thai jungles of the Theravada to the mountains of Tibetan Buddhism in the Himalayas, to art and calligraphy and the tea ceremonies of Zen, all of which have now spread right across the Western world. We are all in unison in what gives life meaning. It is the practice, it is simply the practice of being of benefit to others. The two cornerstones on which Buddhism is based are compassion and generosity. Compassion out of the heart and generosity of the spirit, through which we practice metta, loving kindness. And we do this to move away from self-centeredness, to truly engage with life and others, to the practice of patience and tolerance, not only with others, but also with ourselves. And this comes from a lived experience, not from a theoretical goal or aspiration to ask and answer the conundrum of the exosteric question of what is the meaning of life. Thank you for joining me for a cup of tea today, and thank you for listening.